up, everybody? How we doing? Don't answer that. Don't answer that when I say how you're doing. I'm just kidding, folks. Thank you for being here. Of course, I am Big Cheds. A warm hello and a warm thank you for spending a little bit of your precious time here with me. It is Tuesday, 2025. This is part of the quick market update series on my YouTube channel at Cheds Trading. I teach professional technical analysis, Japanese candlestick theory, and classical charting. I've published 3 books. My 4th book is coming out pretty soon, The Trading Journal. And so now I'm making my 3rd book for free. I started a brand new playlist. Go ahead and check that out. New traders want to start with the Masterclass tutorial playlist. It's going to teach you how I set up a chart, my moving averages, how to identify trade setups, how to manage your risk, what these lines mean, and all that stuff. If you're looking for more, I do the twice a week full market report at Bitcoin Live with the best team in the world that studies crypto. I've been doing that for about 7 years, and I'm super, super proud of that. So yeah, unfortunately, nothing to talk about today, right? It's kind of a boring market, nothing going on, right? Folks, leave me a message here in the chat. Let me know how you're doing, what you're thinking, how you're feeling. And I'll try to get to your comments. It's going to be probably a big chat room today. There's probably going to be a lot of people and a lot of questions. It's just me, so I'm going to miss a lot of questions. But I'm definitely going to try my best. I'm going to try my best to add value and try to add a little bit more sense to the nonsense, a little more rationality to the irrational. So, folks, thank you for being here. Drop me a line in the comments. We'll do Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Of course, I don't have any tweets today that I've picked to kind of go over. I figured I'd leave the format open just to see what you folks wanted to talk about. Bitcoin's definitely in big trouble. Losing what is an incredibly important level for the price. On the higher time frame, it still looks pretty good, obviously, in the higher time frame. We haven't even tagged EMA 34. But in classical charting, this is a really important level, the 90 to 91K price zone. Given the repeated attempts, the price distance between peak and trough and time interval, and it's the level that bulls really definitely want to see hold. And I've been saying for a long time, a loss of this level suggests to me that we're going to drop down to the 74K range. This opens up the question of confirmation. Has it lost the level yet? Did we lose it? I'm sure we're going to see questions like that. Cheds, did we lose the level? Is it over? Well, you kind of have to almost immediately bounce. Sure, you can have a nice long lower wick, turn this into a spring, and get a recapture, but that's a lot to ask for. Certainly, many people are on 4 hour, 1 hour, and we can poke around a little bit, but I'm hesitant to draw any kind of conclusion on that. I will say, kind of for me, it's going to need the candle close back up above 90K. So you've got 5 hours to make that happen. And I think absent that, which means if that doesn't happen, we're looking at a very likely test of the prior range peak around 72 to 74K. I did not call the top. I have been bullish because the higher time frame trend is incredibly bullish still, and we've had price above support. And if you'll note, I've been bullish at each of these prior support tests that held, and I looked good. Great. You look good until you don't. Bears were early. They guessed. It's been a choppy channel, right? Right shoulder failure, bounces off 90K. Even this most recent low time frame break and attempt to rejoin the trend in this kind of, fake out, bake out. We had the BitMEX hack and all that. And then equities are kind of puking too, right? Equities are taking a lot of pressure today. So how do we put this, a little bit of bounce, but how do we put this all into perspective, right? So that's the higher time frame view. I'd say Bitcoin kind of, for me, needs to put in the lower shadow and recapture the lost level today. I'm not going to wait around. I woke up this morning seeing it below 90K and thinking, oh, okay, that's unfortunate. That's definitely unfortunate. But others who've predicted rollovers before me, others who've called tops up here, good. Maybe you got it right. And bears were early. Good, fair enough. But I'm always going to be bullish as long as support holds, and we pretty much lost support. I will say until the end of today, I'll leave open the door for some type of a recapture. But I don't know that I wouldn't be jumping to 1 hour, 4 hour and trying to draw lines here. I mean, it's got a lot of damage done, and it looks like there's some momentum on this bearish break. And to me, that represents a risk-off level below 90K. Ethereum has been weak to Bitcoin, but so, it's even weaker now. Inability to hold 2,700 on an attempt to recapture that level. I've been kind of watching that weak versus Bitcoin. A lot of people called bottom on this. I mean, I've got some things right, of course. I've been saying, look, there's no bottom on this yet. And I put out a tweet here where I pointed out the timeline was trying to convince itself that there was a bottom, and for me, not so much yet. But I'm not gonna, I'm gonna, if this does roll over here and continues to roll over, I'm gonna step back a little bit and see if maybe I missed some signs. We shall see. We shall see. But and Solana, a lot of damage done. I did play this a couple times. It got stopped out on attempted bounces, both at the 215 level, at the 185 level, and the 165 level, which were all reasonable levels to look for a trade throwbacks. In an attempted stair step, in an attempted continuation, and Solana's continued to roll over, now losing 165, represents a deeper weakening trend on the weekly chart now with the loss of the weekly MA50. So that's my real quick rundown. But I want to, who's bothering me? Don't they know I'm doing a YouTube? That actually is an important call, but I'll get to that after. So those are my quick thoughts, but I'm happy to dig into them more now. I want to jump into the chat room. I'll say hello. What's up, Jordan Sharud, Ardash, Jao, Mohammed, Flamin' Gaming, good to see you again. DGen Trading, Mohammed, Smash, Jordan, Matej, Martwan, good to see all you folks. And just as a reminder, I do stream here 3 days a week, every Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. For these quick updates, and make sure you check out all the great stuff. I try to pretty much make everything I do for free, and if you want to find more, of course, you know where to find it. So let me just scroll around and see if there's some good questions. Cheds, Matesh says, Cheds, what do you think about selling or holding for long-term investors? Well, I mean, what's your long-term time? What's your long-term thesis? I mean, it's definitely a loss for a trader. A longer term, you're probably waiting to see the price response at 74K. I mean, if you're long-term, weekly chart still looks really good. I can't give you buy or sell analysis for a long-term thesis, but the weekly time frame is incredibly bullish still. Price distance to a rising MA200 still well above the prior range peak, hasn't even tested. I mean, we're nowhere near weekly MA50. So I think first of all, you shouldn't be asking me for your long-term thesis. Your long-term investing thesis has to be based on your own, risk management style. You have to have some way to manage that risk. There's still no loss or even a test of the weekly MA50, still well above, the prior peak. So for a trading standpoint, it's definitely a risk off below 90K, but a longer-term investment thesis is something that's completely different and has a lot more to do when you talk about investments. It has to do with quote-unquote fundamentals and all sorts of different things. So Chris says, haha, everyone's panicking, but we've seen bigger dumps in this current bull run. Yeah, that's fair. But again, from a classical charting standpoint, losing 90K is a very significant blow to the trend. And I've actually had to be aware of my emotions a little bit this morning. I was disappointed to see it break because that is a significant break. Dreamer says hello, fun day. Yeah, fun day. And look, on the bright side, this volatility can lead to opportunity. I'm certainly looking for it, but I'm hesitant to be looking for trades in pretty much any of these coins right now until things settle down. I did put out a tweet last night pre-breakdown. Bitcoin was at 92K, and I essentially said, in this type of a situation, when you minimally want to be waiting for it's some type of a recapture of lost support, like a spring. You don't want to be buying into the blood, in my opinion, because the momentum is pretty strong right now. You'd be very careful here on lower time frame. Let me try this again. Be very careful here on lower time frame. Even with the volume's good, but you've got a very, very strong bleed right now. Be very careful until there's some type of a recapture of lost support. Have you ever taken a trade? What does that mean? In terms of what? What do you mean, Smash Reviews? What time frame? Close. So talk about daily time frame was my view on would be an official for me. And again, confirmation level in classical charting is a little bit user choice. It can be a price distance from the level. It can be 4-hour close. It can be multiple 4-hour closes. It can be daily close, multiple daily closes. It can be time interval. There's all sorts of methods. For me, I'm going to need to see this, recaptured by today's daily candle close in 5 hours. That's how I'm viewing it. It's not boring. It's depressing. I can definitely relate to that. And I can say, if you've like for me, and I'm writing about this in the journal, like if you lose some money in a trade, if you have a couple tough trades, like take a break. Always encourage people taking a break, because emotionally compromised trading will get you in trouble. Carson says, appreciate you. I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, brother. Tom says, you always have great value. Thank you, man. So folks, drop your questions in the chat. Let me see if we can, I'm going to try to add some value there. I don't have a magic wand. I don't have a magic solution. There's nothing I can do to prop the price up. I wanted to see it hold. I have been bullish while support has held, but that appears to be failing. Jordan says XRP has the most relative strength. I mean, XRP still looks pretty good. It's still holding range lows. We did have a local breakdown, but it still does have a demand zone. I think you would be buying a dip at the low 2 range there on XRP. I mean, the only one that's really holding up is BNX, and it's crazy. It's almost like it really doesn't care what's going on with Bitcoin. I have been following BNX. You've seen it on Twitter and on here. The very nice volume showing that accumulation. Ardosh says, I feel like everyone's expecting 70 to 80K. We might not see that. We certainly might not. But for me, if we don't quickly recapture, and I think within today's candle, it's a very strong probability we do drop to like 72 to 74K. Given the significance of the break, the time the price spent consolidating in this channel, that would be a daily failure. Samuel, where do you see a logical range low for SOL? Where do I see a logical range low for SOL? I mean, that would have been below 165. You're in major trouble. It should have held the 180, 180, 185, 160, 165 range. So what is a logical range low? Sure, you've got other support levels to test, but the problem is, should the price bounce here, you're going to be looking at likely a series of underside retests on the way down. Its trend is rolling over on the higher time frame. The weekly trend is starting to roll over on Solana, suggesting that you should be paring back your risk on that for sure. Do you think a retest of the 90K support resistance is possible, Fran? Absolutely. I think that would make a lot of sense. And unfortunately, you should be treating that as what's called a pullback or an underside retest in classical charting, even a potential setup for a short. When you have a major loss support level rolling over, you should be treating underside retests as what's called a pullback or underside retest, which is a short setup. All right, let's see. I liquidated 50K. All I had to live and learn. Brother, I feel your pain. Degen trading, man. I've zeroed out like at least 4 or 5 trading accounts. I've had like soul crushing losses multiple times. And part of what I do, part of the reason I do this is I want to give back and I want to like give people the tools to manage their risk. You know, every time you enter a trade, you want to make sure it's clearly defined. I talk about managing your emotions, being aware of your emotions, and when it is time to take a break. For you, this might be a great time for you to take a break. If you don't have confidence, you have nothing. If you're emotionally compromised, you're in a really tough spot. So Carlos says, thanks, Cheds. You're the best in the space. I mean, I try my best. I don't know if I'm the best in the space. Other people clearly played this better than me. Certainly the last part of the channel, because again, I'm going to stay bullish until the trend breaks. Other people, gave you more warning signs when I was encouraged and still bullish. So I don't know if I'm the best in the space, but I'm giving you my best. I'm trying my best and giving you my best always, brother. Let's see what people have to say. Relief bounce, join us. Hug-a-Bear says relief bounce. It's very much possible, and you're kind of on watch for that, but there's not a lot of juice here yet. Low time frame. I like the volume building up, but you got to be very careful getting in front of this type of a freight train. The momentum loss on this level is quite powerful. I would not be touching this until you get a recapture of minimally like 90K. You have to give yourself something to work with. So, I mean, sure, you want to be ready for a retest or what you would call the relief bounce that would lead to a retest. You want to be ready for it, but I would not necessarily anticipate it. The loss of this level is significant, quite significant. Let's see. So I've answered most of those questions. Ian says, "Aloha, Chef," or "Hello, Cheds." What's up, man? Are you on Hawaii? Which island are you on? Let's go to 50K. I don't know, 50K. I don't know about 50K. I mean, really, really, really want to see it hold above 70K. You know, prior all-time highs and the peak of this range, roughly 50K would be super ugly. I still think we have a very good chance to continue with the higher time frame cup and handle to around mid 200K in 2026. That's still going to be my base case until proven otherwise. But I do not want to see the price drop down to 50K, even as greedy as I am, for the longer term. And I'm still a bull long term, of course, but I do not want to see it drop to 50K. Cheds, do long wicks tend to get filled, says Matt. I mean, it kind of depends on the context. It really depends. I mean, there's a couple schools of thought. In classical charting, some of the best entries do come on retests of range lows. We had a couple of these here, but we just, punched right through. So like so it's one of those things. Like in classical chart, okay, let me try to make a good point. I love a throwback, right? Because it's a very nice setup. But actually in classical charting, trends that do throwback perform worse. Ideally, you actually don't even throw back a breakout level. That's number one. So like classical charting would say it's actually weakness to refill a wick, and you don't want that. But Japanese candlestick theory talks about the idea that the best entries often come on the retest of a reversal candle's lower range. So there's this general rule, do wicks get filled? It's really situational. It depends on the broader momentum of the chart. Depends where that wick is in relation to broader price structure. Okay. Is the bull run over? I don't know MB record. I can say that it's been a rough bull run if you haven't been in Bitcoin. It's been a rough bull run, especially if you've been playing, weak charts. There still are some decent altcoin charts. I'm going to have to wait till the dust settles. Like TRX is still at 22 cents, which is crazy. BNX, probably Mantra still looks pretty good, right? There's still some decent charts, but many have taken a ton of damage, a ton of damage. So I generally don't like to think of the bull run or the alt season because I'm not trading narratives. Right, I'm trading charts in and of themselves, chart by chart, four corners of the chart, as you know my philosophy to be. Great to see 300 of you. It'd be nice to come when it's sleepy, folks, too. It's nice to have you here when there's a little bit of panic in the market. But I am streaming here, by the way, 3 days a week, Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. Those who were just joining, my new book's coming out pretty soon, so I'm making my third book free, the Trading Quotes book. I've already published weeks 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Make sure to check that out. Let me read the chat room. Everybody, great room. A lot of great comments today. Let's see. Question about Bitcoin. I don't know about gold, rather. There's a huge amount of shorts being printed by gold, by big banks, so that derivatives bubble doesn't go burst. I don't know. That's a little bit interesting question. I try not to draw too many correlations between other assets and Bitcoin. Other charts and Bitcoin, I don't like to look at like the Dixie and Bitcoin or comparing the gold to Bitcoin. Other people do that. They compare, Bitcoin to the Qs. There's other traders with different styles. There's other analysts. There's better analysts. Again, I just try to be my best, and perhaps losing support without me seeing it. Maybe getting this wrong. Maybe I'll have to step back a little bit and think about things. But I still feel pretty good because I'm always going to be bullish, until support holds. Let's see what everyone has to say. Have a look at Mantra. I just looked at Mantra. It still looks pretty good. That's a great eye there. I think you want to be still trading a bit of relative strength. Always looking for relative strength. OM Mantra it still looks really good. It's wondering why everyone's freaking out because there's nothing going on here with it. So let's see. Is it bad if you have blown 3 accounts and you don't care? Yes, Marcus. That is very bad. I have a quote, you should never become numb to losing money. It should always hurt. Not like hurt, but you should always respect your money. So if you have blown out 3 accounts and you don't care, that's a problem. You're probably just gambling you're thrill chasing, you need to respect your money, right? That's like when you enter a trade, like if you're short here in Bitcoin and the loss of 90, you can't hold if it recaptures 90, right? Every trade idea has to be defined based on the idea and knowing when it fails. So if you've said you've blown 3 accounts and you don't care, that is a problem. I would be concerned. I would say just pull back a little bit, read a textbook, take a break, and come back when and respect your money. I think you really much need to respect your money. Eugene says, when would you start looking for shorts? Well, I mentioned earlier, a short setup would be an underside retest of that 90K zone. It would be called a pullback in classical charting when you have a very well. Let me do it this way. When you have a very well established level, time interval, price distance, and you lose it, underside retest, very clear setup. So if you want to short here, I think you would need a little bit of a bounce. I would not be shorting into range lows, even though I think momentum is likely to push it towards 72 to 74K based on the higher time frame range breakdown. I don't think you want to short off of this immediate lower time frame loss. We are below the lower Bollinger Band. We are quote unquote oversold, but the problem is the biggest price drops come when oversold. You want to be incredibly careful here. People who shorted higher are doing fine. Maybe they've moved their stop losses down, but if you wanted to short, I think you're going to need a bounce. I think you will need a little bit of a bounce if you want to short. Hope everybody is doing okay. Appreciate your comments. Appreciate all the and if you think I got it wrong, let me know. Take your shots. Go for it. I'm Cheds, you got it wrong. You were bullish. Fair enough, but I'm always going to be bullish when price is holding support in this strong a trend. Zena says Aave is below all the moving averages. What does this mean? Well, that's below moving averages would be bad for momentum. That's bearish. It is threatening to lose the MA200 here. You did want to see it hold around 240. If you'd like to long Aave, I think you want to see the price flip and recapture lost support. One of the most simple ways to play. It's one of those reasons where I recommend when people are playing a downtrend, not that Aave is a downtrend quite yet, but when you're playing a downtrend, and I recommend people do not take a break in a diagonal. What you want to do is wait for lost support to be recaptured. So you want to identify some level that was lost, and the recapture of that level would signify a momentum change. I'm kind of amped up. Everything going on. I had like 16 cups of coffee already today. Hope everybody is doing well. Thoughts on the link chart, says Ben. I deleted it from my watch list because it broke down to 1819. So I'm sure it's got to be lower. I'm sure it looks way worse. Yeah, it's yikes. So I would avoid link. I'd probably delete it from the watch list for now. I don't like the chart. Let's check out the weekly chart. Yeah. I don't like the chart. There's still, even with there's just a lot of better charts. And, with Link failing to hold at 1920 was definitely a momentum sign that you should have paid attention to. You don't want to be just holding as price loses support, which is the same thing with Bitcoin and 90K. Yes, I love Bitcoin. Yes, I'm an uber Bitcoin bull. But loss of 90K is significant. Just to reiterate, in terms of confirmation level in classical charting, it can be intercandle, multiple candles, percentage move, price distance. For me, it needs to recapture in today's candle 5 hours left to make this turn into a beautiful spring, beautiful range low recapture. That would be wonderful, but I don't think it's likely. It really should have held here. And so I'm less optimistic than certainly I was 24 hours ago. That's for sure. As price was heading towards this was a buy level for me. Price at support in an uptrend, and you want to respect it until the price no longer respects it. We're now on the wrong side. We're on the underside of a very important level, and that is not something to be taken lightly. Tau chart, please. Sure. Let's take a look at Tau. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. I definitely appreciate you. As you know, I'm streaming here 3 days a week. Check out all my free content. Yeah, Tau's rolling over. I think you pretty much avoid Tau until it can flip 450. Going to the weekly time frame. Not much time price history on the weekly time frame. Not much. Even on the daily charts, kind of meh. Sideways MA200. So I don't hate the chart. I definitely don't like it. And I would be certainly careful until it can flip and recapture 450 for sure. So I just answered that question, Nicholas, right? The question was, how do you evaluate closing out a trade when it loses support? Confirmation level in classical charting is user choice. It can be a 1 hour candle close. It can be intra candle. It could be a 15-minute close. It could be 3-4 hour closes. It can be 2 daily closes. You know, if you're really conservative and you're not sure, you think it might recapture here, maybe you wait for 2 daily closes. For me, kind of my sense in this case is using a daily candle close would make sense here on the daily chart. So, all right, this is good. Let's see what else. Let me just scroll around the chat room here real quickly. This is a great group. It's been, we're coming up on almost 30 minutes. Folks, this is part of the quick market update series on my YouTube channel. I teach professional technical analysis, Japanese candlestick theory, and classical charting. I published 3 books. 4th book is coming very soon, next couple months. I'm making my 3rd book free. Check out the Trading Quotes playlist. Watch my Masterclass tutorials to give you a good sense of how to set up your chart, moving averages, the difference between exponential and simple moving average, how to manage your risk, how to identify setups. I went over the significance today. By the way, Bitcoin Live, of course, where I do a twice a week full market report. Tomorrow night shall be very, very interesting. We'll look at the entire market in detail. I talked a lot about today about the significance of losing the 90K level, and I talked about what confirmation of that level loss to me would be. I think you want to be incredibly careful if we do not recapture this level by tonight. The price has told us to pay attention there. And now that we were losing it or almost have lost it, I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to let the price guide me. Bears who were early, good job. I mean, they were wrong here and they were wrong there. I got this right. I got this right. I got this wrong. Fair enough. I'm going to stay with the trend. Could I have played it better? Maybe, but I'm not sure. I still feel pretty good with how I viewed the chart. But, when the dust settles, I'll take some time and reflect on it. Was there something I missed? We shall see. We shall see. But no matter what, I'm going to be back here on Friday and Saturday this week. I'll do a market update there for you as well. Try to find me on Twitter where I'm at Big Cheds. I appreciate all your feedback, good feedback and bad feedback. Go for it. Let me know what you think. It's all fair. It's all fair, right? So thank you, folks, for hanging out here with me. I'm sorry today was delayed. I wanted to do this stream a couple hours earlier, but my neighbor had some work, and you wouldn't have been able to hear me. So this is part of the Quick Market Update series. I'll be back with another stream on Friday. So until then, a warm thank you for being here, and I will talk to you soon. Big Cheds out. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you coming.